the debt is too much. Interest rates are now going up to keep inflation from running away. We printed money like crazy. You've got the rise in conflict. When we printed money, when the Fed printed money to backstop what looked like it was going to be a potential contagion from SVB, obviously, I think there were 5 banks that ended up failing. Is this now contained, or is what the Fed did just going to forestall something that's inevitable?
The dominoes are beginning to fall. I mean, okay, you know what the next dominoes are, and you can imagine the dominoes. So, for example, they're not going to buy the debt. A lot of them are not. Those who bought the debt and have too much debt and have debt losses on government debt are not going to buy more of that debt, for example, and therefore, when the government sells more of the debt, there's not going to be an adequate number of buyers for that debt. You know that those who are hurting because they have those losses won't make loans, and a lot of those loans went to real estate, particularly commercial real estate. And you know that for various reasons in commercial real estate, that we don't use it the same way and so on. So you're going to have problems in commercial real estate. You know that this kind of money was also financing venture capital and private equity entities that also have cash flow problems, challenges. And so you know that that funding is not going to be there in the same way. You know, as a result of these things, that a number of entities will cut costs and in their various ways. And so depending on that, the job market is changing. And you see it, for example, in tech jobs and other, if you're in some of those areas that are getting squeezed, and you see the same thing by and large, happening internationally. So you can see also that if you said, what is the value of those assets that are being held, that value has gone down a lot. And because it was bought on leverage, as you described, because it is bought on leverage, there are bad losses in different places. And then the question is, what are you going to do with those losses? In most cases, quite often, they're, don't mark them to the market, meaning don't account for them and recognize those losses, which is kind of, let's say, hiding those losses and hoping in time that they'll just over time, it'll be fine. But that'll produce a squeeze, that'll produce a problem. So I think we know those things. And that's happening at the same time as we have an internal conflict taking place, such as the presidential election. So we're going to come into the presidential, and it's not just presidential election. Of course, it's a number of senators, congressmen, and so on, and who are at each other's throats about this, and who are going to fight with each other. Okay, and fight to win, not probably respect the rules as much, but fight to win for their side. And that's happening at the same time as we have the situation with China, most importantly, China and Russia, in terms of the issues, in terms of their things to fight over. For example, even there's going to be an election in Taiwan that'll also have a big bearing on this whole thing. So there's, we know, I think, pretty much that we're going to have financial problems and economic problems at the same time as we have this internal fighting and this external risky situation.